12, and then you don't have to go through this, because it could be somebody that might not be in good pay standing, and they wouldn't be approved for that, and you went through all of that, and you could have just got the printout and figured it for yourself.
I mean, I'm open either way, but, we have, we can do it today. I mean, like I said, we just maybe need to, maybe publicize that we can give you your last 12 months and, give you that figure. And then, but understanding that cold winters, you may have to pay a little bit more at some point, and warm winters, you may owe your money back.
People are still using gas a lot in March too, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, if you had a settle up day past, maybe in April 15th, tax deadline day,
We wanna stick out here.
yeah, something that people could remember,
I
some
think
things.
you really settle up from the day, from the month that you start, like, everybody's not gonna start the same month.
Well, and I think that's why they do that, because that's a lot to keep up with as far as every individual would have a different date,
Yeah.
and that would be aggravating to keep up with, and I think that's why most people do have a month that says, if you're signed up for this, then, this way right here will add work to the office, because like I said, here in March, you're gonna have to send mailers, send the application, it's gonna be a little more labor intensive.
And I think it would be beneficial to people though, because they could set a budget, and know what their utilities was gonna be, and it may help with our write-offs,
I think it's an excellent idea.
You too.
I'm going back to this pay standing thing again, and the reason I keep saying this is I work there, so I understand what you're saying. How would that be determined? I know there's a pay rate from a 2, it used to go to a 2 to a 10, or a 2 to something like that, with 2 being the best. How would you decide
That
if
would
you
be
had so many?
Something for us to discuss and just.
So it's not something just willy-nilly, you just need to jump on it, you gotta decide if you do that, how you're going to do that. Yeah.
And like I said, if you're late for 2 months with the budget billing, does that keep you out of that?
Right.
I mean,
Like Sandra, we're gonna have to come up with a policy.
Yeah.
That's reason, I think you're right, we need to come up with some kind of policy, so everybody knows what the guidelines are, if we institute this and start doing it a lot more than what we have. And I think we had a meeting the other day, and we understand that some of our policies and guidelines are kind of out of date, and we're gonna go back and review them, so this may be one of them, to be in that.
and like I said, I'd be more glad to come up with something, see how, kind of.
We need to alter,
Check
we
it
just
out.
need to get it all in place instead of coming in here 2 months later and going and changing it
Right.
and all that.
You don't think we could have that ready by next utility board meeting in a month?
I don't see why not.
And also, the grant I spoke about, you know, give us an update on that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna dive into it a little bit and talk about, so it was 400,000 total, but that was 200,000 for water, 200,000 for sewer. So, sewer is to install temporary flow meters throughout the system and see where a lot of our flow is coming from. That helps us plan for the future, if we got a lot of I&I, then that helps us identify that. And that's also with 200 manhole inspections, 1,500 linear feet of smoke testing, and TV inspection of 10,000 feet. So that's gonna let us identify where we have problems. On the water side, I'm excited about because these are permanent zone metering flow meters, throughout the system. That's roughly 12 of them. We basically have the system broke up into 6 zones. And what they do, that lets us actually measure the amount of water going to that zone. Well, with our new metering system, we'll be able to know how much water we sold in that zone. We know how much water went to it, and how much we sold. If there's a big discrepancy, then we know we have a leak somewhere. So, like I said, I'm really excited about that. And then there's 27,000 feet of water main condition assessment. So we got several issues throughout the system that we know about. This is gonna help us identify other places that we don't know, that is questionable anyways.
On a percentage basis, how much water do we lose
Lose,
a month?
a month, it varies, but on average, so 40% is
Is your cap?
is your cap. several years ago, we was at 40%.
The next thing is, discuss approve use of board training, and page 8, where it starts about the duties of the board members, what they have to do is to train and qualify, it's on page 8. This is requirements that since supervisor on the board, we have to go to these guidelines and take the required training. And, it says that one good thing, it's good news is they reduced the, education period from 12 to 6 hours. So what that means is that you won't be taking as many hours as you have in the previous sessions. But anyway, it's in your packet, and what it is, requirements. And if there's any questions, we'll be glad to help you with it, or anything we need to do.
And I have a question as far as training. How do you want me to advise y'all training? Because there's training classes all the time. MTAS offers them, the comptroller offers them. Some of them's online, some of them's, go to. How do y'all want me to?
I've been signing up through T4 is what I've been doing, and some have been through MTAS. What do y'all think? What's the best way? And what do you suggest?
I'm open to whatever. I send them as a group, but if you want me to send them individually or text you or whatever, because like I said, they send a calendar for a year. I mean, most of the time, 6 months in advance, so.
Yeah, if you want to just share the calendar, that might be wonderful.
Because the link I was telling her, I did a couple here last week, but the link you sent works, you sign in and then pick your classes. One question I had though, is is there any way for us individually to know exactly where we're at with how many? Because when I signed in, it tells me what I've taken, but it doesn't say when and how many
So if you read that, it's kind of left up to you as board members.
So there's no way to check.
But I need it, when y'all get completed, I need that information so that way we can have record of it.
But even us though, I'm saying when I sign in, I can see the courses I've taken historically, but it doesn't, I've been on the board every year, so it doesn't say how many you're needing for the current.
Yes, they really don't keep up with it at all, other than us to say that we've done that, until we don't do it.
But aren't we required to file an annual training report with you by the 31st of January every year?
That's right.
Okay.
I still have my certificates from when I did it in 23, then I finished my 6, I've already finished those, so if you keep that, you kind of see the date on it, because your certificate's got the date on it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do we need to show those or something? I've got them too, those stack reporter
I
you
think
said.
I think last time, Tim, we had to send them to Cody, but this
Yeah.
time I think we had to send them, or Justin's asked.
Yeah, we just need to keep a record of that at the
It
office.
says that the utility
All right.
director keeps them.
I ran copies of them, reporter you said, they're good.
If you can share the calendar, that'd be great.
Discuss approve gas, water, wastewater, and property write-offs.
So, of course, this is 2 months, so that's why it's a lot higher. This is because we didn't have them last month, so this is 2 months, but it's $15,284.54. It's total write-off, garbage, water, and gas.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Call roll.
Roger Lofton.
Yes.
Tim Rhodes.
Yes.
Donna Ross.
Yes.
Jimmy White.
Yes.
Gabe Williams.
Yes.
Sandra Wood.
Yes.
Chip Clark.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brad, you're gonna come up and talk with us about the electric system?
I will.
Before you start, I just want to say thank you to your office staff, to our management team, our linemen, the volunteers, the welcoming. And I also want to say thank you to the families of our employees, because I know it's a way of life to them, they're used to it, but they sacrifice too, and we just appreciate everything y'all have done
We
too.
appreciate it. It was for sure a group effort by everybody involved.
Yeah, we appreciate you
More than anything else, I'm glad to get it behind us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We can move forward.
Storm coming in this weekend.
page, 21, board packet. I'll just start with the training and safety report. So the only thing I want to point out on this one is, we added a employee, we had him enrolled in the power line design and staking course. This employee is in the engineering department, and this course will just gain him some exposure on, line design, construction, that kind of thing. So that's one thing we've added. And then on the next page would be the safety report. So, we do a monthly safety meeting. We bring in an organization called JTNS, stands for Job Training and Safety. They give us a monthly, safety meeting, and they'll cover just various topics related to our industry. They're not gonna do one in January due to a scheduling conflict, but they'll make up for that in February. Or excuse me, they did do one last month due to the scheduling conflict. So at the end of this month, on the 23rd, they'll do two, and you'll see the two different meetings are gonna be avoiding slip, trips, and falls, and then they're gonna go over OSHA updates as well. Is there any questions about the training or safety report or anything on it? If not, I'll move to the outage report. So the obvious, outage note would have been the most recent ice storm just got brought up. And I'll give you a quick rundown of how, we went through the restoration process. So obviously the freezing rain started in the early morning hours on Sunday morning, the 25th. Outages began roughly around 1 a.m. that morning. I woke up around 5 a.m. to a bunch of system alerts on my phone, got up, went outside, felt the freezing rain hit me on the face, knew it was not going to be a good day. Got in the truck, came to the office. Within about 30 minutes or so of being in the office, I realized this is going to be a multi-day event and we're going to need a lot of help. So I began making contacts to anybody that would be willing to come in and help. At the time, everybody, close by is dealing with their own outages and own repairs. So had to reach a little further out into Kentucky. Found 4 different line crews in Kentucky that could come pretty quickly. They were just dealing with snow up there, so nothing they had to deal with as far as damage to go. So the Kentucky crews arrived Monday morning, and in the meantime, I was able to find some crews from, say, Dyersburg, Covington, Paris, and JEA. They offered help at that time as well. So at this time, we were having about, I'm gonna guess it was a little over 8,000 customers out. The outage map showed 7,000. There was some, that's not entirely accurate, there was actually more than that, probably a little more like 8,500 or so. So we got to work on those. After about a 9-day restoration process, and in the meantime, we brought in 2 crews from Carroll County and 1 crew from Benton County too. So after they cleaned up their system, they came and helped us too. So after a 9-day restoration process, we got everybody back on. Just working basically, we met at the warehouse 6 a.m. every day, worked until past dark, then went home, got some sleep, woke up, did it all again, did that for 9 days. So glad to get that behind us. As for LexNet outages, so this is typical. You can't really assess the LexNet fiber damage until you get the power back up. And then you can see what damage you got on the broadband side and get that repaired. So on the LexNet side, we're estimating we had a peak of around 3,500 customers down during the ice storm. So after we get the power up, power comes back on to everybody's homes, then we can get a better idea of, okay, now what internet customers did come back up, and then you can start tackling those. So it's just a normal lag, behind the power restoration, getting the fiber restored as well. So pretty much all, LexNet outages were restored by the 6th. There's still some odd end issues going on with those, but most of them are related to the river areas where they're not primary residents, they're just, recreational, campground areas, and we're finishing up the cleanup in those areas now too. So, all in all, I think the restoration process went fairly well given the circumstances we were dealing with. It was a good test, especially for our broadband division to see how well we could respond to things. There's always room for improvements and things to learn from it, but all in all, I think we did okay with it. But other than that, does anybody from the board have any questions or how we handle things, anything we need to bring up or any concerns?
Did y'all let Mr. Steve Hay retire yet?
Steve Hayes' last day was Friday. next thing you know.
It was Friday.
Mhm. Yep.
How long had Steve been with the system?
41 years.
41 years.
He took a lot of knowledge with him too, I'm telling you.
And he went out with a bang.
Replace that way.
And he went out with a bang.
I'm sure he did. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he did go out with a bang, yeah.
But he would have it any other way.
He wouldn't leave him, he didn't, they say he didn't leave his wingman, he stayed right there with him.
He was there the whole time. Yep. Yep. It's hard to lose 41 years experience.
Knowledge that he's taken with him.
Just a good guy too.
Yep. Yep.
Well, we hope he enjoys his retirement.
Speaker, wish him well. If there's no other questions, I'll go to the Lexington take rate figures. So you can see we're still riding at 30% take rate. We're having about 6,884 total customers. And I'll point out that we grew in percentage in 4 different OLT service areas. That would be the West Lexington, North Lexington, South Parsons, and Parsons. So we're still growing in areas. We picked up a percentage in those 4 service areas. And just as a rule of thumb, we're adding about 125 to 150 or so customers per month. We've been at that pace for the past 4 or so months. It's been pretty consistent. So we'll keep tracking that and making sure we're still growing accordingly. And I'll entertain any questions regarding that as well.
I'm just curious, but how we feeling on rates that we're charging compared to charter, for example, or?
I feel good the rates are where they need to be. You know, we're able to survive with the way the rates are now. They're competitive. So I don't have any issue with how the rates are.
That's enough worry for, you know, are they keeping their rates down lower, below us on purpose, obviously, to try to retain customers, and is that having much of an effect? I guess that was.
Yeah, they obviously know there's a lot of, movement going on around the Lexington area. They're offering some pretty, extravagant, you know, promotions. They're basically giving it away up front. They'll get that money back eventually over the long term if the customer decides to stay that way. But it's, you know, it's just part of the competitive business.
What about the commercial side with Lexington?
We have roughly 200 or so, business customers. To be honest, I don't know if that's a good number or a bad number, but that's what we got.
I mean, does it seem to be going smooth?
Yeah, it's been going as well as the residential has as far as, you know, the quality of service and, I haven't heard any bad business customer feedback, to answer the question.
I love my Lexington. It's never down,
Oh,
it's never a problem,
It's
it's
been,
fast.
it's been good. I'll agree.
Love it.
I enjoy it in my house as well.
Any more for Brad?